event is kindly sponsored and supported by the Ken Gill Memorial Fund, which is a trust set up to commemorate and really look at Ken's history, but also to take his ideas and use his memory as a way of aiding and helping political campaigns such as Cuba Solidarity campaign into the future.
After about, say, 3 years of the new Cuba Solidarity campaign, we realised that we needed someone with a bit more higher profile and connections than I was able to supply. And so Jude Woodward and I made contact with Ken Gill, and we went to meet him in a South London pub, and we talked about politics, we talked about the current state of affairs, and we talked about this and that. And it was a bit like going, asking someone for a first date. None of us could bring ourselves to actually pop the vital questions to Ken. And then so at some point in that lovely, gentle, soft Wiltshire burr that he had, he just said, "So you're asking me to be the chair of the To which we said, yes, indeed. And so then that marked the start of Ken's direct involvement with Cuba Solidarity, although clearly he had a wealth of experience and effort supporting Cuba long before he actually joined Cuba Solidarity.
Yes, I was met at the airport by a member of the staff in the Cuban embassy, and I think Steve Wilkinson. And they took me directly to a house in Ramsden Road in Baltimore. And when Steve pressed the bell, the door was opened by an imposing, very tall man who said, "Hello, I'm Ken Gill." And that also changed my life, and the perspective I had of Britain, of the British, of life in Britain, totally changed over one night after the next, sitting around a large, very huge, solid oak. I think it was oak, Norma, wasn't it? Or wooden table in Ken Gill's house with Norma brewing some coffee for me and making an exception and allowing me to smoke inside the house because it was freezing. And then after that, I met Ken Livingstone, the day after that. And 2 days after that, I met Ken Cameron, and I said, are the British now original? Is everybody's name? And they come up with another name.
I want to pay tribute to Ken Gill, who was a tireless advocate of the Cubans' cause, and trying to get me involved in Cuba and the cause of Cuba Solidarity. He said, "I'll introduce you to leadership in Cuba." And I thought, yes, Ken. Well, when I was at the WFTU Congress, in fact, I was introduced to Fidel, and it was a great, privilege. And the photograph of myself shaking hands with Fidel was in my front room.
Ken Cameron and obviously Ken Gill as well, and they were clearly crucial figures, and I just single those two out in the way that we actually wanted, who were crucial in the way that we built up support within the trade union movement for Cuba Solidarity. They were. I can't emphasise the contribution they made, the effort they put in to winning support throughout their own unions and throughout the trade union movement to give us such a strong foundations in the work that we did that's persisted to this day with a number of trade unions that are affiliated, both national, regional and branch level, which has given such an amazing strong base of support for the work that Cuba Solidarity does.
So I think that was the second time I visited the UK. Ken Gill said you have to go to Scarborough to a conference of the FPU. There's no French meeting, but there is a social in the evening, and you've been invited. So off I went to Scarborough. And in the evening I get to, there was a hotel, and there were 200, 300 firefighters drinking pints of lager, and they were enjoying their lives after a successful conference, I believe. And I was sitting next to Ken, and there was a guy also from the United States, as I recall, somebody from a trade union in the US. And I don't know, out of the blue, Ken stood up climbed on top of the table. He had a pint of lager himself, or a glass, I don't know if it was full of lager, and he called everybody's attention, and he said, and everybody was like drinking, and he said, hello, may I have your attention? I have a friend here from Cuba, and I want him to say a few words to you. I said, oh, this is nuts, nobody will pay attention to what I have to say. Well, it was, first of all, the significance of King's figure, I have to give him that credit. But also, when he mentioned the name Cuba, the room started quieting down, and down, until you could hear fly both. And those firefighters who had been drinking a lot, all of a sudden turned so quiet. I said, oh my God, what is this? So that was one of my first experiences with Ken Gill, who I will never personally ever forget. Anytime I think of Britain, his name will be the first thing that will come to my mind.